So with everyone on YouTube making videos about their lists of best games from 2017, their favorites and all that jazz, I wanted to make a different kind of video where I talk about games that I felt were underrated or underappreciated for 2017. Because yeah, have you ever played a game where you feel like either the game's been polarizing or maybe it kind of got hit a little too hard in reviews, a lot of critics call it average, but you found some special bits that really resonated with you and you wanted to share those? So that's kind of what I feel with these games, and maybe some games here you might disagree with, or you might agree with, or you might have other games that didn't make my list that you'd love to share in the comments below. So let's start a conversation with that. But without any further ado, here's my list of games that I found particularly underrated or underappreciated for 2017. The first one up is Prey. This game came out this year and then quickly got away from the public eye, which I really thought was a shame because I played the game for many hours and had a lot of fun with it. Prey did an excellent job of creating an atmosphere where you feel alone on a space station, which really played into its great exploration, and the exploration part of Prey was its best part. For example, there would be like supply rooms or different areas that I would try to get into, and at one instance I tried to get in this supply room and there was a bunch of toxic waste there. So what'd I do? Well, I tried throwing this recycler grenade at it to see if it would suck up all the toxic waste so that I could jump on top of the room and enter in from above. But that wasn't the only way to be able to do it, and there was a lot of stuff like that in the game. I could have found the passcode or the key card to be able to go through it, or use the glue gun to make my own set of stairs and climb my way up to the top of the supply case and then get into it. Exploring the space station was just full of little moments like this, and the game was good too. It had a good sense of progression and a great sense of accomplishment from its exploring. Yeah, the game had long loading times and they got really annoying towards the end because you had to keep backtracking between different areas. But as an overall experience, if you enjoy exploring, finding new items, and really enjoy that aspect of, say, like in Deus Ex where you're kind of rummaging through people's things or exploring the hub areas, I think you'll really like Prey because it excels at that. Yeah, so this one's going to be controversial. I put about 100 hours into Mass Effect Andromeda, and I'll just say this, I love the trilogy and I still had a great time with Mass Effect Andromeda. Yes, I know, it had technical issues when it launched. Thankfully, many of those got patched. I understand that it had a bunch of bad PR, crazy faces, and all that sort of stuff. But something that I really liked, and yeah, the game doesn't really have the strongest beginning. I do feel like all these aspects are a lot of the reasons why people didn't really enjoy the initial first hours of the game. Because something that I will say about Mass Effect Andromeda, and I particularly really liked it, is it's very much a slow burn, and it pays off with its characters as you keep going through the story. Some of the best moments in the game happen way later in the game, and part of that is because they have to set up these characters in a position now and then get them to a point later on so that when you have these changes happen, these learning lessons happen with these characters, they feel more earned than just having them happen, if that makes any sense. So I do like that some characters did have some growth with them. I mean, just look at Jacob. He was kind of annoying in the beginning, and you might have found him annoying throughout the whole game, but I did like that he screwed up at one point, and then you help him out on his loyalty mission, and he sort of learns a lesson. It's nice to see a character grow like that. And as a first story in a potential new trilogy, I don't know if they will continue it with Andromeda, I was very much enjoying it. And story aside, the combat was great in this game. Yeah, the AI could have been a lot better, but I really enjoyed the different options with the guns and the powers and being able to move across the environment a lot faster than you could in any of the Mass Effect games because of the jetpack. And I also did like too that the game did make an attempt to try to go back to the first Mass Effect in being more of exploring planets instead of experiencing sequences on a very linear level. I did like that they did this. At the same time, I do wish that they had more memorable side quests in this game, as many of the side quests really just were an excuse to kind of run around with the combat more than really have those impactful missions and stories that you would see, say, in The Witcher 3. Now, I understand people may not have liked this game for Mass Effect Andromeda on its own merits, or people felt like they were betrayed from Mass Effect 3's ending and that kind of carried over into this game, or some of the bad PR. So I understand if it's not your cup of tea. I just wanted to highlight it here because I particularly had a great time with it. Sniper Elite 4 is another game that I feel like just didn't get enough attention this year, and I would like to do another video on it where I really kind of highlight some of its best points. But here, just in summation, I think it got lost because it released around the time of Neo, Horizon, and Resident Evil 7. So a lot of these other big heavy hitters were coming out at the time, which was great because we were getting a lot of good games. But kind of Sniper Elite 4 kind of fell to the background. But what I like here is they really improved on a lot of aspects from Sniper Elite 3, and it's its most polished game to date. It's essentially a Splinter Cell Hitman style game with sniper aspects in World War II, and it's fantastic. The game lets you play pretty much however you want, and I enjoy that it does that. Oh, you got caught by the Nazis? Okay, that's fine. Gun your way out of it. There's no insta-fail sections. I like that. The game treats you like an adult. The other thing too is the story missions are huge, so there's like a lot of room for replay value there, along with 2-player online co-op, which really just changes up how you play the game. And in particular, I really like those Overwatch missions where you will have one friend who's gonna be your sniper and then you're on the ground doing missions. That's a great way to do co-op because you have 2 specific roles and you have to work together. Overall, that's a great game to play. The Surge. While the story isn't going to blow you out of the water, the game is fun and worth checking out. The Surge is a Dark Souls inspired game with a good atmosphere. Pretty much you're in a facility where everything wants to kill you and the environment can feel very claustrophobic, which gave me a small hint of Dead Space while I was playing the game. The environments do look samey, and environmental variety would have helped the game feel more fresh for my eyes throughout the game, but I would say the combat system is where this game truly shines. The game has an energy system that you build up by hitting enemies, and then you can use that energy for buffs, debuffs, or send your little robot buddy out to damage them. If you have some energy built up, you can perform a takedown on a damaged enemy, and you will take off that enemy's body part. This plays into the loot system. For example, if you're fighting an enemy and select their body part that glows blue and take that off, you'll have a chance at receiving the schematic for that piece of armor that you just knocked off. It's a neat little system. The game is rather hard and includes some really good boss fights. The game does have its fair share of flaws, but I wanted to highlight that the developers seem to have learned from their prior game and improved. And you can't ask for anything better than that. And with that, I really look forward to their next game. Ghost Recon Wildlands. While there is a strong group of players that are very vocal about their love of this game, and I've had the pleasure of talking to many of them, I feel like this game was hit with rather average reviews and it just doesn't get the attention it deserves. It's by no means a flawless experience, but rather a game that provides a fun open world that you can choose to basically play with your childlike imagination and conduct missions the way you want to do it. Want to drop down from a helicopter and land behind the enemy base? Or would you rather steal an enemy APC and enjoy the destruction? Or maybe you'd like to take the sneaky approach and see where that takes you. The open world in Ghost Recon Wildlands really allows you to play it the way you want to play it. The single player missions can put restrictions on you that can be a tad annoying because they go against the open world's kind of level design. But if you can get a group of friends together and play this game, it's really fun, it's accessible, it pretty much feels like Mercenaries in Bolivia with a hint of Ghost Recon. Now, I want to make a small nod to The Evil Within 2. Granted, this game has received nothing but praise from critics and players, I just feel like it just hasn't been talked about a lot. I feel like it came out and you don't hear it talked about as much as maybe it should be. I particularly really enjoyed the game. You get a full story, no season pass, no microtransactions, and you earn unlockables like in a PS2 game. How can you not be happy with that? So there you have it. There's my list of games that are underrated or underappreciated, and ones that I really enjoyed that maybe might go against the grain of some of the critics and stuff like that. But I'd like to know, are any of these games, do you feel the same way? Do you feel differently? Were there any games that didn't make it onto my list that were maybe on your list? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.